Alright, so I got my camera scope hooked up to my iPhone, and I want to take a look in here to see if there's any more debris. And right there is another nest, is the remains of another nest. So now I'm going down this way into the arm, and some debris, bit of a nest against the wall. So that's, let's see where that's looking. Right around that bottom corner right there. So not a big deal. So now I'm running down the passenger side front wing of the chassis, and it looks clean, I think, except something a little more concerning is that right there. All that mottled brown, I think, is the formation of rust starting. And oh, there it is, really bad. And if I had to guess why I'm seeing rust on this side, is I'd have to believe that's where the original mouse nest was, down this end of it. And yeah, it was probably located right there. And then their urine, which is acidic, probably etched the metal. So not the end of the world, not that big of a deal. So what I need to do is get some OSFO and pour OSFO in there, and OSFO will convert that rust into a paintable surface. And then I've got this this epoxy called, or I'm going to get this epoxy called, I think it's POR 125, POR 125. It's a two-stage. One is epoxy that I'll use a wand and spray it in there, which will coat on the top of the converted rust as well as the inside. And I'll use the POR 125 epoxy on the outside as well too. But you also need to paint over the top of the epoxy anywhere where it's exposed to the sun. Epoxy doesn't hold up well to sunlight, so you then coat the epoxy with a layer of paint. And that's what I'll do on the outside of the chassis, probably a gray color. So it's very similar to this, almost a gunmetal gray paint will go on top of the epoxy. And then the outside is just going to get further cleaned up and coated. Any rust, it's actually not rust, that's just glue, remnants of glue. There's very little rust on it, which is good, because it's a 30-something-year-old chassis. You could see rust starting down here, although I have to believe that will clean up. But that'll get sprayed with OSFO as well, which converts the rust into a bare metal. And then you immediately coat it with the POR 125 or 25, whatever it's called, epoxy. And then the outside of the chassis will eventually get painted with POR 125 paint, a gunmetal gray. So I should have a very uniform looking, free of rust chassis when all is said and done. We will see. All right, so using this long drill bit, let's see if I can catch that mouse nest and push it down the frame. Yeah, it's right there. Right there. There we go. Hey, look at that. That is the, I believe, the last of the mouse nest. It's pretty nasty. All right, pretty cool.